is unique. So, and you don't have to like put it in that specific way. So your story is different from story from uh person A is different from story from person B. So you definitely can arrange it in any way you want, but just make sure that things are arranged in a like it makes sense. Yeah, just make sure that the story makes sense. So firstly, the first paragraph one of your statement of purpose is your motivation and interest. So this is the like the opening statement that shows like a summary of what you want and also your background and how it connects with your future goals. So in this particular uh, paragraph, you're trying to tell the reviewer or the admission committee that yeah, this is what I want to do. This is why, this is the reason why, this is the problem I want to solve. It doesn't necessarily have to be a problem. Just this is something I figure out that I need to do, and this is why I want to do it. This is what I currently have, and this is what I aim to do with it in the future. Just a brief summary of that. So that is the paragraph one about your statement of power, your motivation statement. It's very important to have a strong motivation because sometimes admission committee they are not only looking for your skills or so. There are a lot of candidates with great skills. Yeah, you're competing with a lot of candidates with great skills, but also they want to see that let's put the skills aside. Who is this person? What is the push behind? What is pushing this person? What is the motivation behind this person's interest in the program? You need to show them that you have a very strong motivation and you are very clear with what you actually want. So paragraph two is about why you want that, or like why this goal. This can be combined with the first paragraph. The two of them can be together. This is when you discuss that particular interest and you show that you have a solid interest, solid reason for pursuing advanced degree, whether master's or PhD, you have a solid reason for pursuing it. That can be together with paragraph one. That's why I mentioned at the beginning that you don't have to like follow strictly this particular format, but just make sure that you arrange it in a way that you can clearly communicate your ideas to the committee. So this is the second part. So and this both paragraph, what I mentioned in paragraph one and two is very, very important. So because that is the first part they're going to read. And sometimes, let me tell you something about some admission committee, like some professors. Sometimes when they read your paragraph one, they don't continue reading the essays. Sometimes. Different people have different modes of reviewing. So if the paragraph one is something that like they just read the paragraph one, they feel like this is not interesting, they can actually drop your application and move to the next candidate. So that is why you need to make sure that, yeah, it does. Paragraph one doesn't have to be like the one that contains everything, but just make sure that anyone that picks up your essay after reading paragraph one should be interested. Sometimes you don't put the best thing first. So sometimes you can keep the best thing towards the middle of the essay, but you make sure that it's not bad. The paragraph one is not bad. So now I will share you two sample, just a sample essays, paragraph one essays, and they are good. One is good, one is bad. And I want you to take a minute to read the first one. So, okay, let me read the first one to you. This person is saying, I built my first circuit in high school and it showed me that theoretical concepts can be used in real innovation. Because of that, I decided to study electrical engineering. During my undergrad, I took courses in signal processing and communication systems, which I became interested in. I also did some research on adaptive filtering and came across some machine learning techniques. That made me think about doing a PhD at XYZ University, where I could do more research, work with faculty, and maybe help develop better signal processing systems. So this is one essay. I want you to take another minute to read this second one as well. So this second one is saying, when I built my first circuit in high school, I was captivated by how theoretical concepts could drive real innovation. That curiosity led me to pursue electrical engineering, and during my undergraduate studies, I became deeply interested in signal processing and its application in communication systems. Through research on adaptive filtering techniques and exposure to machine learning methods, I realized I wanted to contribute to solving complex problems in this space. I am now seeking a PhD at XYZ University to engage in advanced research, collaborate with faculty whose work align with mine, and ultimately contribute to the development of more efficient, intelligent signal processing systems. These two people are trying to communicate, these two first paragraph, they are trying to communicate the same thing. One is good, what the other one, not bad. I mean, not bad, but not that good. There are weaknesses and weaknesses in the other one. So, if you can anyone tell me which one you think is good and which one you think is bad, the first one or the second one, if anyone wants to talk, or if you don't want to, I can proceed.
The second one is
Yes,
good.
for me, the second one is good. The first one is bad
Okay.
because if you look at the two of them, they are actually communicating the same thing, but the way the second one was organized, each paragraph or each sentence is linking to the other one, starting
Exactly.
from the basic to how. So it's a kind of progressive in nature. Each previous sentence is linking to the next one, and it
Exactly.
really showed strong interest why the candidate is pursuing the PhD in that university, and has really talked about his what has prepared him based on his academic background to take the PhD in such field.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. That is exactly the correct thing. So this second one is good, the first one is bad. If you look at the first one, in addition to that, if you see, that made me think about doing a PhD at XYZ University. What are you thinking about? You need to be like assertive with your like affirmative, just give like firm words that yes, you want to do this. This one said, I'm now seeking a PhD at XYZ University. Yeah, that is good. You are direct with your statement. You don't tell them that you are thinking about. And this person, the first one is also saying that maybe develop, like, all those statements that when you're already doubting yourself, then how do you want others to believe you when you're already doubting yourself? So don't say maybe or probably or thinking about all those one. And then the first one, it's separate. These sentences are not linked at all. So one of the things about writing an SOP is that you need to make sure that the person reading it, as they are moving from one sentence to another or one paragraph to another, they're able to, everything is linked together. So you're able to connect the first sentence to the second sentence or the first paragraph to the second paragraph by using linking words like moreover, therefore, importantly. Those linking words make your essay like solid and make them like not just like separate things. Sometimes when you read some essays, you just read one paragraph and then you'll be like you're reading a totally different essay in the second paragraph. So it shouldn't be like that. So make sure that you put like your paragraph one, everything is solid and everything connects together. So then the paragraph three, which is your academic survey, this is everything about you. So I can say this is the most important part of your statement of purpose. Yep. So because it is the one that actually describe what you are actually like, what you're bringing. So it's the one that describes, that explains everything about you regarding your experience, your academic background, your professional experience, and everything about you. So here you're going to put your academic background, your research experience. What research have you done? Whether you are in STEM or non-STEM, did you do any hands-on research experience? Did you have any hands-on research experience or anything you've done in the past that you realize that even your undergraduate project? So here is the part that you put, for example, for example, those that are in STEM, in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or any other program that you have hands-on uh, lab experience. This is where you put all the skills that you've acquired. And then if you've done maybe your undergraduate research project, you can also describe your project briefly here. If you feel that that's the most important research experience you've gathered. So, for example, for those that have maybe they're applying for a PhD program and have gotten MS and have done their MSc and they did a project that is probably linked similar to what they're interested in doing in their PhD, or is not even linked to it at all, they can also put it there and explain. Because one of the purpose of writing an SOP is to show that you have good like writing skills and you can communicate your research. So in a simple manner. So I always say keep it short and simple. So instead of like just writing so many technical terms, keep it short and simple and put everything together. For example, I do encourage people, especially fresh undergraduates, to put uh, their undergraduate research project there because that is probably majorly the only thing, the only research project they've done. Though some people still do more after graduating. So put it there and be able to tell them, briefly tell them that, okay, this is what I did. This was the goal, this was the reason behind establishing doing this project, and this is the outcome. If it has been published, put it there. If you have honors and award, put it this. That is why this paragraph 3 is usually like the most like dense paragraph, and you can break it into two and move it some other part. If you feel like you can explain yourself better in two paragraph, you can move the other part to the next paragraph. Sometimes I separate extracurricular activities from this paragraph 3, and sometimes I put them together. It depends on how like the format of writing that essay, which I will explain later on, because some schools require some specific formatting, and some schools require like it depends on the school. So just here paragraph 3, put everything about you, your experience, your background, and your extracurricular activities as well, your honors and awards. If you've gotten some, if you graduated, maybe you graduated top 1%, top 2%, top 5% of your class, this is where you can also show it. You can also show to them that, yes, this is my academic record. These are the honors and awards I've won. And this is how I think, because another thing about writing SOP is that it's not just for you to state everything. Be able to link it back to the fact that it is preparing you ahead of graduate school. So because that is exactly what they want. They want to see that, okay, yeah, you've done this, you've done that. Do you even realize how this is going to help you how this is going to help prepare you for grad school? And if you can tell them that, okay, these are the skills I've gotten, which is will be relevant to this particular thing later on, that will be very good. And they will be impressed to see that, yeah, you actually know your stuff. You actually know that these things that you gathered, this experience that you gained, these activities that you did, they are actually they are actually preparing you ahead of grad school, and you know how like the roles they're going to play and how they will help improve like your performance or your ability to grab things or your ability to do things in grad school. So this paragraph is very important. So now paragraph 4, why this program? So you already talked about your motivation, you already talked about your interest, you already talked about your portfolio, your academic experience, your research experience, honors and awards, extracurricular activities. But now you need to tell them what you see in the program. There are so many programs, hundreds, thousands of programs. If you're doing mathematics, there are thousands of programs offering mathematics. If you're doing physics, thousands. Biomedical sciences, thousands. Chemistry, thousands. Even non-STEM courses, programs, thousands. So why this particular program? Why do you want to join that program? You need to let them know. As I mentioned earlier, that they like to be praised. So you need to tell them something that is unique about the program, and something that is unique about something that is unique about the program. What you feel like the skills that you aim to get, that you feel like it's very unique to this particular school or this particular program, and you're not going to get somewhere else. Even though sometimes you can get it somewhere else, but you just need to make them feel that special at that moment. And each school usually have a unique thing. So that is why this paragraph 4, why this program, and the next one, why this school, always go together. They're usually in the same paragraph. It can be separate. As I said, it doesn't have to be this particular format, but you can put them together in a paragraph, telling them why you're interested in the program and why you're interested in school. And this same paragraph is the one that will tell you that you will tell them that this is exactly your interest, why you expatiate on your interest, you talk more about your interest and how it aligns with the program, with the program they're offering, with the program, the research they're doing in that particular program, and how it aligns with the faculty members there, who you want to work with, the professors you want to work with. I usually encourage people to mention two to three professors or people that you're interested in working with, because that will show them that, oh, this person already they did their own work and they're able to identify the researchers they're interested in working with. So that is also important. And the university specific activities that would you think would help you, you can also put it here. So mention at least 2 to 3 professors and tell them why. So you don't just mention that I'm interested in working with Professor so who does this and that. But why? Why are you interested in working with that professor? So you need to tell them, you need to mention that to them as well. And if there's a research work or research curriculum or something unique about their curriculum, you can also reach out to students in those schools. Every student in the particular school, they know what the professors think is unique about their program that you might not actually find online. They know it. And if you can get that from them, that will be very helpful for you. And if you can mention something that is internal to them that they know that this is unique, that they didn't even mention on their website, they will be very impressed. So then the last paragraph, which is your career goals. So this particular paragraph, people usually feel like it's not necessary, but it's very important. Some people be like, oh yeah, I've explained myself. I've even read some SOPs, I've reviewed some SOPs that some people did not even mention their career goals because it's very important. There are two things that motivate people, where you're coming from and where you're going. So where you're coming, it's just as if somebody is pushing you from the back, and another person is pulling you from the front. You see, if someone is pushing you from the back and someone else is pulling you from the front, the force is kind of like reinforced. So the admission committee, they want to see that this person, even though you have skills, you have great profile, your motivation is solid, they want to see that you have a very good, like you have a solid plan on what to do after completing the program. So you discuss your short and long-term career goals and where you see yourself after graduation. So you tell them, okay, immediately upon completing my PhD program, I want to go for a postdoc in this, studying this and that, and in the long run I want to become this and that. That is both your short and long term. So whether something you intend to do in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, or you're interested to work with a particular company, interested to do this, that is where you put your short and long-term career. It's very important. So they want to see that this person actually has a use for this particular program, not that you're just interested in just like getting that PhD for PhD sake, getting that master's for master's sake, or just you're interested in using it as a means to just japa or leave your country. So they want to see that there is a very good use for it. And then the concluding part of your essay. So this is where you drop the mic. So as I said, as I do say, it's dropping the mic is the last part of your essay that it's very important. I'm telling you, and I'm emphasizing it. Your conclusion is very important. You already talked about so many things. You don't want them to have a poor impression, the last poor lasting impression of you. You need to make sure that you remind them of what you've been talking about, and you tell them that you confidently tell them how unique you are and how fit you are for the program, and let them know that yes, let them have a good memory of you, because mostly for a reviewer that reads your essay to the end, they read the conclusion part and that is the last thing they read before they actually make their final comment on your maybe or your essay, before they actually maybe rate your essay. So even though sometimes some people, even when they read the first paragraph, they might have before they get to the last paragraph, they might have forgotten so many things. But that conclusion part is the part that will remind them that, oh yeah, this is what this person has been talking about. So let them know that you are going to succeed with the help of that particular program. You are going to succeed, and you are ready. You are really you're really looking you really you look forward to do what to being a member of or a student in the particular program. So that's this conclusion part. As much as important your introduction is, your conclusion is also important. So your conclusion is the one that will have, that is the memory they will have of you, the lasting memory they will have of you, and that is the conclusion. Some, I'm telling you, some reviewers don't read everything in your essay. They just scan through, and because they have so many applications they want to read, they have so many applications. So sometimes your application might be the 20th, or that they are reading for that day, or the 10th they are reading for that particular day. So you need to make sure that the concluding part summarizes everything and gives them like just boost everything that you've been talking about. So so now that you already, and as I mentioned earlier, your essays can be arranged in any format. It can be arranged in, and just make sure that you write them in a way that is reasonable and makes sense and contains all the things that I mentioned earlier. So what are the writing ethics? So now that you know what it is that you have to put in your statement of purpose. So what are the writing ethics? What should you do before, during, and after writing your statement of purpose? Wait a minute. So don't start writing your statement of purpose. Don't just jump into writing your statement of purpose. Firstly, determine who are you? What makes you unique? So that is important. So one thing is I put 2 points here. One is firstly, you need to go through essays from your mentors and see how things are being done. But before you do that, I know majority of you already have your SOPs written, your drafts. Some, yeah, some don't have their draft yet, some have their draft written yet. It's okay. Whether you already have your draft or you don't have a draft yet, or you've already written your SOP, you haven't written it, you already shared with your mentor, you haven't shared with your mentor. But one thing is, think about what makes you unique. So I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that if you're to send a particular period of your life, because everyone do think that as if you for people that watch football, footballers will say they have their prime, that when they're in their prime, this is what they could do. So what is your prime? Prime period, prime achievement. If you're to send like a particular clip about your life or anything, what would be that like? I mean, that top-notch things you will say about yourself to say, to send, to represent you. Think about those ones. It's different for everybody. Some people have very strong research experience, while others don't have that. Some people have very strong academic background, they have very strong academic record, honors and awards. They won so many awards that they can't even count. Why some people they don't have that, and their strength is what? Their research experience. Some people have very strong extracurricular activities. They've been so involved in giving back to their society, and that is their strength. Think about what your strength is, what makes you unique. If you going through samples from people will kind of limit your ability to think, because if you collect essay or draft or let's say essay or sample or template from someone that their strength is their let's say their research experience, that is their strength, and their essays is just majorly focused on that, and you and your strength is what? Maybe this person that has a very strong research experience did not have maybe any honors or award, but they have very strong publications and the likes. And you don't really have any publications, but you have huge or tons of honors and award. That is your strength. Don't just collect that draft from that person and be like, oh yeah, the person did not even mention any honor or award, but you have a lot of honors or award, and you also did not mention it. So you know that definitely you are not doing the right thing, because that is actually where your strength lies. So, firstly, think about what makes you unique, because that is very key in writing a very solid essay, because that is where you focus on how you'll be able to like everyone has a punchline in their essays, or even during job interviews or so. They have this like punchline that they'll be like, oh, once I tell them this, then that is it. So think about that particular aspect of your life that you think that this is the best representation of you, who you are. And then go through essays from your mentors, because even though if you think about who you are and you know what makes you unique, you still need to be guided. You need to go through samples of essays and see how things are being done. See so many essays and see how you can come and you can write yours to make you unique. Write yours, make sure that your essay is unique. Don't just follow the format from another person and oh yeah, this is what this person wrote. Just make sure that your essay is very unique. And also explore the research. Do your research well, do your homework, because you need to know what the faculty in that particular school. Like if you're interested in probably a master's and you need a supervisor, master's or PhD, you're definitely going to join either have a PI, a mentor, join a lab or anything, anybody you're going to have as a guide or a mentor. You need to be able to, you should mention them in your statement of purpose. So the university will also, the admission committee will also be impressed that you are able to do what? You are able to do your research well and know that okay, these are the things that you know about the school. So because one of the difficult things about applying to grad school is searching. Searching is so stressful. Everyone goes through this thing because you have to go through a list of so many schools and you have to go through their portal, their website, see the professors that are there and see the research they're doing. Does it align with yours or not? Because that will determine what you put in your SO. Because you cannot say you're interested in neurodegeneration and apply to a particular school that don't even have one single professor or one single faculty working on neurodegeneration. So anything you're interested in, because that sometimes research alignment is also another thing that they use to determine whether they're going to admit you or not. You've have heard from admission committee that people being rejected, when you get close to some professors, they will tell you that some people can be rejected because their research interest does not align, even though they have a great profile, their research interest does not align with what what nobody, like anybody is doing in that particular school. They have a very unique interest that nobody is doing that area in that particular program. So each school have their strengths and weaknesses, and you should know what the um the research areas that are being offered in that particular program. Though that doesn't mean that that is what you will do when you get there. That's another thing you need to realize, that proposing that you're interested in this thing does not mean that that is what you will do. You can change your interest later on. Just get in first. Make sure that you propose an interest, that you have something to back up. When you get in, especially for schools that allow you to do rotations, you can rotate in up to like three, four. Some people allow you up to like five labs. You can rotate and then finally decide to join wherever you want to join. Do research wherever research you want to do. But make sure that what you are proposing is something that you have good story to back up. You cannot say you are interested in doing computational, that you're interested in doing computational research in your statement of purpose and you don't have any computation experience, any programming experience. You've never done any statistics or math in your life. All you've done is biological, chemical, or anything, or any basic biomedical research, and you haven't done anything computational. That is going to be a very like weakness in your essay, because they'll be like, oh yeah, you're interested in computational, but where is your computational experience? Like it's very like you don't even have anything that can be linked to the fact that you can you can excel in this particular competition, in this particular area. So try to propose something that you have good story to back up. And then when you get there, you can do whatever you want to do. You can join any labs you want to join. So now other pre-writing, the pre-writing steps is you should list your experience, your skills. Did you overcome a very important challenge in your life, your career goals, what makes you a strong applicant? Those are the things that you need to mention, which I already explained earlier. And start by reading the prompt. This is very, 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 very important. Honestly, don't just go ahead and write essays without reading the instructions. So it will tell you the school's requirement or the essay requirement. I've applied to so many schools that some schools will give you a format that you even say, is this even an SOP? Like, because their requirement will be like, this is totally different from the SOP. They will name it statement of purpose. You'll be like, this is totally different from what you think of as SOP. So, but you don't have choice than to follow their requirement. Some schools will even tell you this is what they want in paragraph one, this is what they want in paragraph two, this is what they want in paragraph three. Please follow that format. Follow what they want and read the instructions very well and see if they actually demand you to actually put anything. Some people will tell you something so unique that they want to have in that statement of purpose. Please put it there. If they're requesting for anything, they will tell you that you should share an experience that some challenges you face in the past or anything that I actually don't feel like it's part of SOP. It's more of like sometimes it fits more into personal statement so than statement of purpose. Although the distinguishing between personal statement and statement of purpose is another talk entirely, which is also another thing that confuses people. So, but just make sure you follow the prompt, read the instructions, and be like the strictly follow the length of the essay. So if they tell you 500 words, keep it below 500 words. If they tell you uh 1000 words, keep it below 1000 words. If they don't give a word limit, my rule of thumb is don't make it more than 1000 words. If they don't give specific word limit, don't make it more than 1000 words. So because nobody likes to read the long essays, because they said there's no word limit, you just wrote an essay of 5,000 words. I'm telling you, they're not going to read it. They have so many things they need to read. Even if they read it, they're going to miss so many important points in your essays because if you also give me essays of 5,000 words to read, when I have so many applicants to review, I won't read. So I will just scan through and see that, okay, what's the point here? So nobody likes to read long essays. They will get bored. Make it concise, keep it short and simple. And then now getting ready to write. So start by creating a first draft. So which is the draft that you use to generate ideas and you can use later or you can expand on it later on. Be original. It's very important. Original, don't just copy people's idea. Be thoughtful. Think about something that makes you unique. Think about how you can impress them and watch out for the slang that your slang. So this is a formal writing. Watch out for slang and also watch out for your for the jargons in your field. So if there is a field specific terminology, not sometimes not all the admission committee members of the admission committee will be the ones that know about the research that you've done in the past because you are applying to a particular program does not mean not everybody in the particular department work in the same area. Some people, they don't even know what is going on in the other area. In my department, people in computational neuroscience, they don't know what is going on with those of us that are doing wet lab. People doing wet lab, they don't know what is going on with computational stuff. When I attend computational lectures, I don't know what exactly they are talking about. Even though we're in the same department, it's still neuroscience. We're all studying the brain. We're using different approaches, but I don't know what they are talking about. So if that person that is doing computation is among the admission committee and they are reading your essay and there are so many acronyms, so many alphabetisms, and they can't even figure out what it's saying, you don't want them to be checking the dictionary for everything there for every acronym you're using, or do you don't want them to be checking to be going to be good to be checking Google in order to understand what you write. So let it make it clear and be careful of the number of pages. Don't make it too long, as I said earlier. And I already talked about all this earlier, including your personal, educational, professional experience, everything that relates to your course content and research. Think clearly about your goals and explore the faculty and the research options that you have. So explore them and make sure that you know what exactly they're doing in that particular school. And please be careful of plagiarism. So they have plagiarism checkers that they can use to check your essays. They do have. So be careful, don't just copy and paste it. People have gotten their admission offer revoked because of plagiarism. So it won't really make sense for you to work really so hard even if it's revoked before you even travel, it's better than just going there, traveling, going there. People already thought that, oh yeah, this person already traveled, started a PhD or master's program in so country, and now they send you back home because of what? Because you plagiarize in your essay. So, and does this mean you should not ask for help? No, it doesn't mean you shouldn't ask for help. It's just that you should not copy and paste. Ask for help, look for templates, check essays online, but don't just copy and paste. And then what do you do? If you're confused, if you feel like you don't know how to write this thing, schedule time with your mentors or supervisors and to help get a clearer sense of your strongest abilities. They will help you. They will help you to get a clearer sense of who you are and how you can improve your essays. So even if you don't know where to start from, so because sometimes that starting is difficult. So that is what makes people just copy and paste. You don't know where to start from. So just meet with your mentors and they will help you realize how you be able to do this. And recently, AI, AI, be careful with AI. So though this is controversial, highly controversial, but about 2 or 3 years ago, there is no really call, let's say 3, 4, 5 years ago, there's no concern with AI and the likes. But now, if you're reading so many essays, you see that you can, even if you're not using AI checker, if you're not using software to check if this is AI, sometimes you can easily identify that this is AI tone. You can easily identify sometimes when you're reading essay that this tone is AI. And recently I heard from people, I don't know if it was done last year, but I heard from people that are applying, that have started applying this year that they are not putting in the application that they do use AI to write any part of your application. This question is very tricky. So, and if you ask me, honestly, I don't know the answer to the question, whether you should say yes or no. But I'm telling you, the best answer, the best the one I will go for is to say no. But it's up to you whether you use it or not. Because though, if you ask some people, that's why I said it's controversial. Some people believe that, yeah, everybody uses AI. It's not really like, it doesn't really matter. And they don't care whether you use AI or not. You will see professors like that. You will see members of the admission committees like that. And you will see some members of the admission committee be like, no, you can't use AI to generate ideas. You can't use AI to do this. You can't use AI to do that. So, and if you choose yes, that you did AI, even though you are truthful that you use AI, but they will be like, if there are two candidates, sometimes there is usually a tie between two candidates and they want to choose one. Maybe this candidate is awesome, the other one is fantastic, and they sometimes try to be like, okay, which one should we choose? And this particular candidate A said, yes, I use AI. And candidate B said, no, I did not use AI. They'll be like, yeah, candidate A is better. Like if candidates A and B can have the same thing, and one used AI and the other one did not use AI, then definitely we should go for the best one that even if the one that did not use AI actually lied that they did not use AI. But as I said, I don't know the answer to that question that if you should pick yes or no. But I'm falling more towards with no because they did not ask to they didn't after that they won't ask you what did you use the AI for? Did you use it to generate ideas? Did you use it to edit your essays? Did you use it to correct your grammar? So be careful when using AI. Don't use AI to just generate. I know AI can generate your entire SOP for you. Yeah, ChatGPT can do that, but don't use it to generate your entire. Just write. Have that writing like thinking ability. Write what you can think, and then you can correct your grammars. You can correct a lot of things using AI. But just make sure that you don't put your entire SOP in ChatGPT and then tell it to do what to correct everything for you. So it's up to you whatever you want to do, but sometimes you need to think deeply about things. So please use it wisely. So after your writing, then you give it to your colleagues, to your friends to check it, and then you compare and edit the SOP, proofread, write again and again. So SOP is not something that you write once or twice and then be like, oh, yes, I'm done. It usually comes with writing over and over again. So, and sometimes the first draft that you write usually comes with a lot of editing when you send to your mentors. So, because sometimes you feel like, oh yeah, this editing is too much. Don't worry, it's just the beginning of the process. It's the beginning of the process. And don't send your essay to too many people. You will get confused. There are some things that there is no one way of doing it, no correct way of doing it. Everyone has different tastes. Some things are highly subjective. So, and person A will tell you, oh, do this way, don't write this. Person will be like, oh, that is what you should write. Person C will tell you, try something different entirely. Person D will tell you something and different like that. But if you have very few people that you know that they're solid, they're very good mentors that they can review your essays well, maybe one person specifically from your field that knows exactly what is going on in your field, and the other another person might actually not be in your field but knows about grad program and have been successful with grad school application, and then you can find one other third member person that can review your essay. So even two is enough. So, but what some people do is they send it to up to 10 people. They'll be like, yeah, they get more feedback. The more you send to, the more you'll be confused. But you definitely need feedback because there are some things that you will not be able to see yourself. There are some things that even your mentors might not actually be able to see. Maybe one person might not see, and another person will see. So that is why about 3 people is good for reviewing your SOP. So then finally, you made it after writing your SOP. Congratulations. This is the very good part of it. So the writing, grad school application is very stressful. The writing, everything, it comes with a lot of stress, sleepless nights, anxiety. Will I be accepted? Will I not be accepted? But once you get the first offer, then you'll feel relaxed. So once you make it to this point, then you've done a very great job, and congratulations. So finally, are you ready for grad school? So write your SOP, submit a copy of your first draft to your mentors, and get ready for grad school application. And in conclusion, so there is no particular way to write SOP, honestly. So it varies from one school to another, though there is a kind of like a general like format, like I explained earlier. Follow the instructions, be able to use linking words, transitioning and linking words to make sure that paragraph A is not totally separate from paragraph B. And anybody reading your SOP will be able to transition from one paragraph to the other. That even when they start paragraphs, the second paragraph you're able to link it to the first one. When they start the third one, they're able to like remember what you're saying in the second one. Don't make it like just separate, and put your best foot forward. So put whatever you feel like is very important, and you don't have to put all your experience, all your everything about you. You don't have to put everything in there. So just make sure that you put what is relevant. So if everything you have is relevant, so sometimes you can, if you feel like it's too much, you can remove the less relevant. It doesn't mean that it's not relevant, but it is less relevant. You can remove the less relevant facts and put the ones that are more relevant. So, and make sure that you have a very good conclusion, and read and reread, follow instructions. Follow instructions. It's also very important. Follow instructions from the school, and make sure that you keep editing your SOP as you're applying, as you're moving from one school to another. You can have you can have one draft that you keep editing, editing, editing. Don't submit the same SOP for one school to another school. So there are so many things that are going to change. Even though your profile is the same, just make sure that you edit them before you submit. So finally, uh, this is the recommended textbook that you can use. It's a very big textbook, a long reading, but if you feel like you need to learn more about grad school, it's not only for masters or PhD. There are so many essays that you can actually learn how to write from this particular group. Graduate admissions essays by Donald Asher. So, and yeah, if you want to read any like you want to get ideas on how to write essays, you can use that. And you can use for editing your essays, you can use Grammarly or Grammarix. So I think they have free versions. So they have free versions, and they also have premium if you want more sophisticated editing, or more like better, like a better uh, editing of your essay. You can subscribe to the premium version. So thank you so much for listening, and I can take questions.
Thank you very much for Said. So, if you have any questions, you can go on to ask now.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, I applied for a school, that is a school, and in the instruction on the portal, they said I should include the faculty name. And I tried mailing the faculty, and they instructed me to like go and apply online, and that's what they told me. I sent a code email to them. I don't know if you
Okay.
could explain more.
Yeah, so for that particular program, when you're reading on the website, is it mentioned that it is required that you need to get the permission of the professor or faculty before you apply?
No. It was not
So they just
stated.
say you should mention. Yeah,
Yeah.
then you don't need to get like just go ahead with the application, mention the person's name in your SOP. You don't need to get that confirmation from the person since it's not required that you should get, because there are some schools that you have to choose the supervisor at the beginning. Like there's no rotation. Anybody, you have to talk. It's the supervisor that will give you the offer. So the admission committee even have like little to say because they will just confirm your profile. Some schools are like that, that it's individual professor that admit students in that particular program. So go ahead with the application, put the faculty name, maybe one or two as they mentioned to you, as they said in the instruction, and go ahead with your application. You don't need to be worried that the person did not give you a very confirmative statement.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. I think Inus Rabiu raised hand. Can you go ahead with your question, please?
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for this great, insightful session. I just wanted to ask, are there any differences between the statement of purpose for PhD and a statement of purpose for your master's? Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. Um, I can't really say there's a specific difference between statement of purpose for PhD and masters. There are differences, yeah, but it's still in the same format, statement of purpose. But let me tell you the differences. One of the differences is that it's most likely required that you mentioned the professors that you are interested in working with for PhD applications because you definitely need mentor. But for masters, there are some schools that there are masters, research masters, and non-research masters that you don't even have supervisors for that particular master's program. In that particular school, they don't expect you to mention if maybe you are interested in working with a particular professor or faculty member. And also, but every other thing is the same. You have to state your intention, your research experience or interest, except the master that you're applying for is a non-research master, maybe just research by doing courses, because there are some research that you just do courses, no research. So that one, you don't have to state that you're interested in a particular research. You just have to be clear with your intention for doing that particular master's. If you just want to gain knowledge, like general knowledge in the specific aspect in your field, then you put it there that this is the knowledge you're interested in gaining, but you're not like interested in gaining research in that area. So you do it, you put it that way. So there are so many other different, but everything is the same, like just the same format. It's just that more is expected from you when it comes to PhD uh, SOP. They expect more from you, especially with your research. You need to have a solid research experience for, not really solid, I mean, some levels of research experience for, or something that will show that you have, like, I mean, you have experience. But for masters, it's not really required like that. You can write an SOP for masters without really explaining a lot about your research experience. But the better the stronger your SOP is, even you can submit PhD SOP for master's application. It will make your application stronger. I hope I answered your question.
Yes,
Hello, good
thank you so
afternoon.
much.
Yeah,
Yes.
please, can we share the material
Good
you
evening, sir.
use? The slide.
Yes, I will make sure it gets to you. I think I will share it with the host and they can get it across to you if there are means to do that.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Yes.
Thanks for the session. We really appreciate it. So, please, I just want to ask the difference. What's the difference between SOP and personal statement or personal essay?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. So, yeah, it confuses people a lot when it comes to that. So, and the thing is, it's the SOP is totally different from personal statement. But some schools actually, when they mention personal statement, what they mean is SOP. I will explain that to you. So the difference between SOP is that SOP is more like research oriented, like your statement of purpose. You're telling them this is the reason why, this is the area of research you're interested in, and this is the reason why you're interested in that. And this is the experience I've gathered in order to prepare me ahead of that particular experience, of that particular program. And this is what you will be doing. This is who you intend to work with. But when it comes to personal statement, you're talking about your life story. You're talking about your main story that actually motivated your interest in a PhD. Not specifically not specifically that particular area of research. You can talk about your story and not even mention anything about research in personal. Yeah, you need to mention that yeah, you're interested in research in this and that. This is what trigger your interest. But you don't need to mention maybe the list of your experience, the projects you've done, and the likes in your personal statement. That is the major difference between SOP and personal statement. But the thing is, how will you be able to distinguish it? If some schools do ask for both SOP and personal statement. When a school asks for both SOP and personal statement, you should put be more research focused in your SOP. Talk about your research and academic experience, everything about you. But in your personal statement, give them a story about how your life, how you progress, how you develop interest in science in general, if you're in science, or if how you develop interest in education in general, if you're in education. So in your specific field, how you develop interest in that, even if it's a childhood experience that triggered that, if it's an experience that you had in the past, progress to some other experience that you gathered that actually triggered that interest. So that is another way to distinguish the two. So, but some schools, they will tell you personal statement. They will not ask for statement of purpose. And what I heard from professors is that, because I've asked in the past, the professors I know that, so what personal statement, how should one go, and what's the approach? The professor said when they say personal statement, you can either make it research related or your personal story related. Just make sure that you're able to find a story, something that will be able to convince the admission committee. So you can go either way. You can make it more personal and you can make it more research related. Some people make it more personal and they get the offer. Some people make it more research oriented and they get the offer. Just find a story that fits fits your style and then go ahead with it. But if they request for both, then personal story should be more personal and your SOP should be more about your research and academic background.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. If there is no more questions, I think there are other sessions that will be taking place.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rasaid. So we'll have 10 minutes break now, and then the next session will start by 4:30 inshallah.
Apologies, how can we leave or stay on the call till the next session starts?
So either way is fine, you can decide to leave and join back, or the call will be left open. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you can hear me. So we'll get started with the second session, which is on writing CV. So it will be held by Brahma. So you can go on to share your screen now.
Jazakallah khairan to start, Miriam. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we'll share my screen. Yeah. So I'm just quickly going to be swiftly about so that we don't take too long of time. So my name is Saeed Mansour. I'm currently a PhD candidate, chemical biology program at Department of Chemistry, Stellenbosch University in New York. So I'm going to be like walking you through how to, develop and craft your CV, so tailored towards your grad school application. So we're going to start with trying to understand the difference between academic CV and your resume, because yeah, some schools will tell you to submit a resume, while many, most especially will always ask for academic CV. So then we'll look at how to structure your CV, and then how to showcase your experience and achievements and relevant skills, and your extracurricular activities, and then we'll just quickly scan through the common mistakes that people usually make in while drafting their CV. So, what's the purpose of CV? So basically, you need to be able to because I know, yeah, a lot of people, even myself, when I started crafting CV, so I barely know the difference between a CV and a resume. So the major sheer difference between a CV, which is often ascribed to academia, like academic CV, is the content. So when you, in the case of CV is more or less asking you to, detail your background, especially your academic background, and everything academic and experiences and what have you. Like it has to be like very very detailed. So which means all your experiences and what have you are what you're expecting to see in your CV. But in the case of resume, which you will always find often when you are probably applying for internship or job applications and what have you. So this one, so they only want a brief and a piece part of your life. So let's say, for example, you've acquired thousands of experience over the years, and in different domains, but you are now applying for a, or maybe even the scholarship application we requested for a CV. So they only want the, what's it called? The parts of the experiences out of the sea or oceans of experiences you've acquired. They only want the parts that correlate or relate with what you are applying for. So I'm just gonna give you an hypothetical example. Let's say, let's say as a biologist, there are different areas of biology. You have microbiology, environmental biology, molecular biology, cancer biology, and what have you. Let's say you've been opportuned to go through all of these trainings, and you've had experiences in all of this field. Now you are applying for a scholarship opportunity or a job opportunity that's requested for resume, and the area you're applying to, let's say, is cancer biology. So in this case, if you're going to submit your resume, you will only be highlighting your experiences in cancer biologies only. So you are going to shun or ignore your experiences from other field of biology, micro molecular biology, environmental biology. You're going to shun all that, and you'll only focus on your cancer biology experiences. So that's the only thing you're going to write about in your CV, and then you will submit. So your resume, and another sheer difference is again is the amount, the volume. So obviously, from what I explained earlier just now, so you're expecting your resume to be very short and precise and concise. So maximum, mostly maximum of 1 page is highly preferable for your resume. But in the case of CV, 2 to 3 pages maximum. Yeah. Yes, there are some cases where the number of pages for your CV can overshoot, 3 pages, but the more preferable 3 pages maximum, especially in the case where you have hundreds and hundreds of applicants. Just like the previous speaker have said during the SOP, that they don't have time to go through all the pages. So if the shorter the number of pages you've written, the better for you. So that try to understand. Hussein Tenimo, I think you are kind of like toggling with the screen. So you probably want to try and delete the mark you made, and so yeah. So understand that, and now for this we are going to be focusing on the CV itself. So what are the key informations the grad school committees are expecting to find in your CV? So to start with, you want to highlight your academic achievements, and while you are highlighting your academic achievements, make sure you prioritize them. Like, if you're like, there are some people who have like had tons of achievements. So because to maintain the tempo of 2 to 3 pages maximum, so you probably want to like prioritize the most important ones. So I've seen different CVs, and some candidates, they kind of like put, what's it called, achievements from their secondary schools. And when you look at the achievement, it is not worth mentioning, actually. So let's say, okay, for example, it's okay, maybe someone mentioned he or she was a prefect in secondary school. I don't think that is quite relevant, when you're applying for grad school. So you have achievements you've had maybe in while you are in your university days, or maybe post-university days, and what have you. So those are, I believe those are gonna be weighty compared to just highlighting you were a senior prefect in secondary school. So you want to prioritize, the achievement you want to showcase in your CV. So we are going to talk much more about that one in coming slide. I'm just going to like give just a holistic explanation here. So then you want to highlight your research experience as well. So some of the experiences you've done in the past, or you are currently doing. So you want to highlight that one. Your teaching history as well, and this is even much more important if you're going to be vying for a teaching assistantship position. Many and most of grad students in the United States are on teaching assistantship position. So yes, you really want to take this your teaching history. You even as little as you just taking tutorials while you're in university is very, very important. Is something that can bolster your point, or that you are trying to drive about how you can communicate well with with your fellow students, and how you are able to pass knowledge from one generation to another. So this is very important. And even if you are not vying for a TA position, yes, it is still important, because it shows how selfless you are. It shows that you are keen and passionate about knowledge transfer, which is something graduate school is all about. Knowledge transfer. So it is very important. And one thing, another knowledge, another information that can also be derived from this is the fact that if, the graduate school committee would see you as the fact that you can teach somebody else, concepts, scientific concepts, whatever concept it is. It shows that you know it, because it requires you to know before you can teach, and that is another way of telling that, okay, yeah, you have the knowledge of your field. And then also, they also want to see what are the skills, what are the things you are good at, your skills. And I'm going to also talk more about this in the comment slide as well, because some people usually misrepresent or underrepresent their skill set in CV. So, okay, now that okay, we've gone through, we've highlighted a lot of things that you really want to put in your CV. So now let's look at how you are, adapting your CV for your specific program. So, one thing, as much as I have said earlier, that resume is the one like you are going to like what's it called? Tailor specifically. So your CV as well, you do know well, there's no spoken rule. Yeah, there's no spoken rule that okay, yeah, this is the way you have to design your CV. It's more like a loose-ended tunnel. So there are a lot of things works. So it all depends on the style and the format that you are comfortable with. And I'm going to share the formats that I am comfortable with, and I perhaps maybe after the end of the whole workshop. So maybe okay on the YouTube page. So we are going to leave a link to this CV different formats that you can find and templates you can find on how to design your CV. So which we are going to also like share later on. So okay, yeah, we've talked about this one earlier. Like, okay, yeah, highlighting your. Now, let's go to the main course purpose. So, structuring your academic CV. Uh, one of the essential the sections. So, because your CV are meant to be in sections, so for easy readability and assessment of your details and information. So, first thing is majorly your contact information. So here as well, I'm going to show you a typical example in my following coming slide as well. So for your contact information, um, basically you just want to give just enough to know that you are human, but you don't want to give too much information. So nobody really cares about your date of birth. Nobody really cares if you're married or not. Nobody really cares if you're black or white. Nobody really cares about even you see some people even put their nationality on there. All of this is quite not needed. You get me? So because all of this information you're talking about in your actual graduate school application where you apply, through the school website, I believe they must have asked all of these questions, which you must have provided. So why the need to for you to put it on TV? So it is you need to create space for much more important things at this moment. I'm going to show you how an ideal contact information session should look like. I'm going to show you that one. Your education and research. So this is another important section you want to pay attention to, especially that research part where you are going to be narrating your research experience. Where you are going to be like showcasing what you have done in the past and what you are currently doing. So how you are going to do this, how it should look like, how your tonation of language should sound, because yes, when they are reading, because writing is another form of expression which is tantamount, just like you are speaking. You understand me? So writing also has intonation. The way you write, matters. It matters a lot. So your contextual written text, the syntax, the use of language, all of these are very, very important when you are crafting your CV. The reason being that you don't, it's unlike SOP where you have, lines and lines for you to delineate exactly what you meant by something. In the case of CV, you don't have too much lines. You just want to put, maybe something you've written with 4 lines in your SOP. You want to put it in a single line in your CV. So, which means you have to carefully choose your choice of words and choice of language to encompass whatever you want to pass across. So then when you so in the case of that of the education is basically stating the schools you've attended and the year you want to put the year you started and graduated as well. So however, because I've also seen people putting their secondary schools, for even primary school as well. So primary school and secondary school is not needed to be. You don't have to put that on your CV. Just your undergraduate school and perhaps maybe you've done your master's here, then you put your master. So the only thing they are not really the graduate committee or the scholarship reviewing committee. They do not have any interest in your primary school or your secondary school. Yes, even if you attended King's College Lagos or Queen's College Lagos, yeah, no matter how prestigious your primary and secondary school is, they really don't care. So what they care much more about is your undergraduate school, because that is where you had a build up to graduate school. So then you also go have this section, the publication and teaching section. So here the publication, you really want to highlight your the publication you've had in the past, especially that are related to what's it called, to the graduate school or the program you're applying to. So for this publication part, some people usually think that it's just only academic publication, like the one where you publish in a journal. It's not necessarily so. While that is the main thing, like the focus actually. So if you have a publication in a newspaper, if you have a publication on maybe on a blog, if you have a publication on perhaps maybe on a website or something, yes, these are also publications. Yeah, even if it's a conference proceeding, it is also a publication. So publication is not just limited to you publishing in Journal of American Society, Nature, the Springer, Elsevier, whatever. Nature publication is not limited to that. These are part or forms of publication. So if you've published in a newspaper, it's a publication as well. If you publish on a blog, it's also a publication. You publish in a conference proceeding, it is also a publication. So all of these can go into the publication section. You understand me? So and the referencing is all the same. So yeah, I think okay, probably maybe when you publish on the website, there's a different syntax of that, so you have to like look that up. And then your teaching. So as I said earlier, this is one of the important section of your CV where you want to showcase that you are well equipped to pass on knowledge. So like you are not just like domiciled, you're not just like dormant. So you are able to receive knowledge and you can pass across knowledge, and you have this this interpersonal communication skill that is embedded in you. So you want to show this to talk about your teaching experiences, even if you've as I've said earlier, even if it's just ordinary university, campus tutorial that you did. Yes, even if it is perhaps maybe you were during your NYSC, you were posted to secondary school to go and teach. Yes, this is still part of it. It is still a teaching experience. So all of these are expected for you to write. So in your in the teaching section. So this one as well, I'm going to elaborate more on it, and I'm going to show you example of what I was talking about. So another thing again is sorry, is the skills and honor. So the skill is honor is another important thing where you need to boast about who you are, about what you're made of. So the skills again, there's no one size fits all. It depends on which mode and the method you want to use to showcase it. You see some people, they're gonna like have a sub segment or a subsection under the skill section. So they will have a technical skill, and they will have a soft skill, they will have maybe programming skills and what have you. So depending on how you want to put it. So the skills that are highly related to what you are applying to, pour everything down here. And I must say, I know what's it called? I can use Microsoft Office suite is not a skill. Like, it's not a skill you are expecting. It is a skill, actually, but when you're applying to graduate school, I think that is something of a default. You are expected to know how to use Microsoft Office suite. So if you wrote, you wrote your SOP, you submitted your SOP. What did you use? You use maybe Microsoft Suite or Google Suite. So they know. But that is not something you should capitalize on as the skill you are bringing, you are coming with into the graduate school. So you should look for technical skills, things that are outrightly related to to the program you are applying for. You do you know how to you know how to interpret NMR. You can culture bacteria. You can different skills, things that you've been taught during your undergraduate school. So, and one thing I would just love to make mention here is that yes, we all from the part of the world that we are from, okay, yeah, we do not have access to many of the equipment that we use in our field. For example, me myself as a chemist, yeah, I only learned about NMR on paper, IR on paper, mass spec on paper, and I believe maybe many of you as well. So one thing is that if you've learned about it, most importantly, you can interpret the results from the usage of those machines. You have the skill. Yes, you have the skill. Let's say you've never used maybe those in biological sciences. Perhaps maybe you've never used this next generation sequencing machine before, but when you see the data, you can interpret it and you can get out the sequence from the data. You have the skill. So, and trust me, even when you get into grad school, all of this equipment, you will still be taught how to use it. The interpretation part is something you might not be taught because, yeah, they would expect you probably you've known it. So do not always, diminish yourself that, oh, maybe because you never had access to the machine or the equipment, so you don't have the skill. If you can interpret the data, you know how the machine works, you know the working principle of the equipment, yes, you have the skill. Put it there. So, and then you have your honors. If you've had any awards, in school, especially in your university days, yeah, put it there. But just make sure that these are something that is worth showcasing. So, the layouts. So as I've said, please bear with me. I have some examples I'm going to show you. So I just need to whet your appetite and just highlight the theoretical part before we move on to the practical part where I show you what you should do, what you should not do, how to write things like that. So now the layout, as I've said earlier, so you really want to prioritize the relevance of each of your section, and I'm going to tell you. So again, this part, there's no one size fits all, but I will tell you what I think on what should come first and what should come last. So yeah, I'm going to show you that. In each of your heading, definitely, because when you're crafting each section, you're going to have heading, you're going to have subheadings. You need to be very, very much consistent with your heading. So if you are using a particular font, and a size font for your first heading, maybe in the education, let it be the same, exactly the same throughout till the end. You don't want to use a large font for your first heading to be, let's say, 20, and then your font size to be 20, and maybe you use Arial. Then when you get to your third section, you change the font to be, let's say, like 25, and then you change to Times New Roman. So this is a bad practice when you are structuring or writing your CV. So this is definitely gonna get people annoyed. Yes, it's going to get people annoyed, and this can be a source of the reason why they're just going to toss your CV to one side, that okay, maybe this person is not serious. Because if you cannot pay attention to little details, if you cannot be consistent with simple details like this, how sure are they going to be to have confidence in you that you're going to, because graduate school, when you're doing research, every little details matters a lot. In fact, the tiniest of the detail can be enough reason to make you be stuck on a single experiment for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So you don't want to, put yourself in a bad light before the graduate school committee. The third thing I want to draw attention to is the use of bullet point. Yes, I have seen countless CVs in recent years, and I can say one thing, that people misuse bullet points. So there are two cases. It's either they misuse bullet point or they overuse bullet points. So how to use the bullet point is very, very crucial in you conveying your message, conveying your message to the committee that are the reviewing committee. Remember, as I said earlier, that you don't have much time, much space rather, to convey your message. You have thousands of messages you want to convey, but you have little space for them because your CV and your SOP are kind of related. They are kind of a mirror of one another in a particular sense. They should not be an exact mirror. When I say exact mirror, I'm going to speak much more about that one, but please just hold this. Your CV and your SOP, in as much as they are very related, but however, they must not be the exact mirror of one another. So what I meant by that is that they've read your CV. If they are coming, sorry, they've read your SOP, rather. If they are coming to your CV, they shouldn't be seeing exactly the same thing. Like, they shouldn't be reading exactly the same thing they've gotten from your SOP in your CV again. Now you'll be thinking, but my experiences are what I highlighted in my SOP are still the same experiences I'm going to highlight in my CV. My award and honors that there are in my SOP are still going to be the same thing in my CV. The skills that I highlighted in my SOP are still going to be the same thing I'm going to be highlighting in my CV. Then how are they not going to be exact same mirror? Yes, you can make it not to be exact same mirror. How? You want to make it in such a way that they are getting some information, maybe much more information, that they weren't able to deduce in your SOP. They are getting much more of that information in your CV. In that sense, you are not making it to be an exact mirror image of one another. So give them a different perspective of you. Even though you are still talking, you are still narrating the same experience you've narrated in your SOP, but give them a fresh perspective, a different perspective to behold of that same experience in your CV. So in that case, so you are not going to make them you won't make it boring while reviewing your application document. The best of writing is the one where you can hook your reader from the beginning to the end. And if your reader is reading tautology, I mean repetition, over and over again, then your reader becomes bored. And once they become bored, they lose grasp of the information you are trying to pass. And if they lose grasp, then you have no chance in getting to grad school anymore. So that is a best written document. So you want them to hold their breath, digging and digging for much more information about who you are and what you have been. And so your bullet points, use them to your advantage, use them to convey your message, make it short, concise, and very apt, and still convey as much information as possible. So avoid the overusage of bullet points. I've seen some CVs where you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bullet points. Why? On just a single section. Why? No. This is peculiar to me. I appreciate the highest of bullet point on an average throughout your CV should not be more than 4 bullet points per section. If you are going to have 5 bullet points, Don't let it be too much. Maybe once or twice, and that's fine. So, but on an average, let it be 4 bullet points per section. Less bullet points, the better. And then another thing you should pay attention to is your spacing. When you write on your Microsoft Word, yeah, so there's always this spacing issue, either single spacing, double spacing, triple spacing, whatever. So whichever spacing you are using, be consistent with that. If you are using a single spacing, be consistent with single spacing. If you are using double spacing, be consistent with a double spacing. But mind you, the font style you are using, make sure it is compatible with the spacing you are using. There are some font style that if you use a single spacing, it's going to compact everything you have written, like very stack them close together to the extent that it strains the eye. So, and there are some font style where if you use a single spacing, all is good. Naturally, the font style, kind of like had put more spacing to it for you to make it. So just make sure it is something that is legible and affords readability. So, but again, whichever font style and spacing you're going to be using, let it be consistent. You don't want to use single spacing in the beginning, then you end up with the double spacing. So, now we will start going in details for each section. So when you're highlighting your education, the education section, so what they expect you to do here is just give us the chronos, like the time and the degree and the university that you've attended. So as I've said earlier, don't shun, avoid or resist the urge of putting your secondary school and your primary school. So at your institution, you have your ND, put it there. Maybe okay, you attended polytechnic, or maybe you attended college of education, put it there. Your undergraduate university degree, put it there. You've done your masters, put it there. Even if you have done you went to college of education before you proceeded to university, put everything there and arrange them in chronological order. Chronological order, I mean, like, start from the earliest to the latest to the yeah, you get what I mean. Like the one you did first to be at the bottom. So, and don't forget to put, the dates from when to when there. I'm going to show you how to do that one as well. And if you haven't, maybe you achieved something remarkable, maybe you graduated with distinction in your polytechnic or your NCE, or you graduated with the first class in your university, or you graduated with a distinction in your master's, just put it there. And there's a way put it there, because these are something that you use to catch your audience. And kindly mute yourself, please. So so you want to put it there. I'm going to show you that one as well. So yeah, I have one here, the relevance course. Yeah, I've seen a lot of CVs where they put relevant courses. Well, I wouldn't say that in its own is bad. I would not say that. But left to me, I think it's not needed. Putting relevant courses in your CV, it's not needed, because I see it as time wasting. Please, whoever is not muting, please kindly mute yourself, please. Aisha, Sister Aisha, please mute yourself, please. So relevant coursework, I think it's not needed, because the reason I said it's not needed is because you must have submitted your transcript, your academic transcript, and in your academic transcript, they have seen the courses you've taken. They reviewed your transcript. So why do you need to put it in your CV again? So instead of wasting that space for relevant courses, put something better, something much more important. So I see it as a form of tautology in your application material. Don't forget that everything you are submitting, they are all in tandem with one another. They are all there to speak for you. So they are seeing everything at the same time. So they've seen your relevant coursework in your transcript. So I don't think, let me put it that way. Sister Aisha, mute yourself. I think so. I don't. Me personally, I don't think it should be in your CV. So here is a typical example of your heading and the your how your education section should look like. I like this. You can see. Oh gosh. Sorry. Let me check. Okay. So you can see the heading. Just have your name printed in a bold letter. Then you have the address. The address is not too giving. It's not giving too much information. It only gave, enough information to know where this person is living. You can see just okay, Street Cambridge, USA. Then your active phone number, and then your active email. That's it. They don't need your marital status. They don't need how many children you have. And what about this this is all they need from you. And then when you go to your education section, so there's a debate. There's a debate that should education section come first or should this come later? While any you choose is fine because I don't have when we look at the logic of those that said it should come later, I kind of agree with their logic, and I still kind of like agree with it coming first as well because um but any which one you choose, I think is cool. I think it's cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, if most common thing is to have education section coming first. Well, for the CV. So you have the school you attended, whatever you're doing. I don't know. So then you have the location here. Then you have the time. So of the attendance to the university. So this probably you can see how the person has written it is definitely like a present thing. So so the one you probably you are interested in is like okay this past one. So you can see the past university where this person did the undergrad. So you can see, and this was what I was talking about. Like if you achieved something cool during your undergrad, don't fail to put it there. You can see this person said BS with first class honors in biological science and then put the GPA here. So you can see this is the location of the school and the year this person graduated. And this is another university that this person attended as an international exchange student. So you can see the location and then the year, May to July 2013. So I think I brought something from Sister Aisha. Please mute yourself. Can somebody help mute Sister Aisha, please?
I think the host can mute everyone.
Sister Miriam, please mute. Can you mute her, please? I think I don't know. Sister Miriam. I'm not sure if you're there. I don't like this thing. You disturbing my. Okay, so I'll just continue for now. So yeah, so this is I got this from one of like the templates document CV template documents I have with me, which we are going to also share, so you can maybe at the end of the everything, so you can just head to YouTube. So we are going to put the link to this document there, where you will find a lot of CV template there. So then I think okay. So, presenting your research publication and presentations. So, your for research projects or research experience. So here you don't want to mince word. It is very important that you don't mince word, because they are highly interested in this part of your CV. It's one of the things they are very much interested in part of your CV, because definitely if you're going to grad school, you're going to be conducting research. So, and if you're going to be conducting research, you want to know how well can you conduct research. So, what's your, what where or what are your past research accomplishment or experience. So, this point here, I usually say you are allowed not to be modest when you are selling yourself. So be confident to show, to exhibit, to display what you've accomplished. However, know the line, know that there, because there's a thin line between being confident and being arrogant. So try as much as possible to be confident and show, boast about what you've achieved, but don't be arrogant. So be mindful of that. So and then your published work. I'm going to show you how you should highlight your published work as well in a coming slide. So then don't forget, so there's this other section as well, the conference presentation. So this part here, people usually make some mistakes when they are writing about their conference present or conference they've attended. So it is one thing to attend a conference, and it's another thing to participate. So you just telling me you attended the conference, what is the use? What's the essence of you attending the conference if you are not participating? So one thing I've like observed in a lot of CVs I've seen is that people just put, oh, I've attended this conference, that conference, blah 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 blah, blah, and that's it. No, I want to see you that you participated. What were your role? What were your role, or what was your role in that conference? Were you a speaker? Were you the host? You know, and things like that. Because these things, these details, sell you better, because it shows that you are a good communicator. It shows that you are standing on business in academia. So when you tell them, oh, I attended this conference, I'm a speaker in this conference, or you are the host in this conference, it tells a lot about who you are as a person. It goes beyond just you having a bunch of cool CGPA and what have you, because you just having a good CGPA and not being able to communicate is not good for grad school. So they want somebody who is communicative, who knows how to extract data from research proceedings and then communicate that data to the public. So you want to show and illustrate all of this. And it is just these little details that help you convey these messages to your review committee. Now, so in the case of your teaching assistant, you outlining your teaching assistantship, so you want to go into detail on what you did during your assistantship roles, your assistantship position. As I've said, that even if you taught primary school or secondary school, put it there. The way you brand it is, what matters. Even if it is just a simple campus tutorial where you taught just 2 people, put it there. Even if you did not even do any tutorial at all, maybe you weren't opportune to be called up for campus tutorial, and you just had one or maybe your friends in the department that you just toss them a topic or two. It is part of it. Put it there. Your packaging is what matters. How you display that is what matters. You understand? And I'll try as much as possible to to show you some typical example on how to make the package, because you don't, while you are trying to package yourself, do not over package, because when you over package, you will, and you eventually get into grad school, the professors or your PI will have expectations from you, the expectation that match up or measure up with what you had in your application material. So if you have oversold yourself and you get to grad school, you get to the lab, you get to the research bureau, and you started fumbling or performing below, you are performing at your normal self, in contrary to your overpackaged self in the application material, it is going to call for some level of distrust, some level of, eyebrows in between you and your PI. So package yourself well, but don't overpackage. Don't say what you didn't do. Don't say what you didn't do. So I believe some of us must have seen one screenshot that was flying around maybe around last year. Yeah, it went viral again this year, where a student sent a cold email to a professor telling the professor that he has used a particular equipment, and the professor replied that, oh, thanks for reaching out, blah, blah, blah. And the professor said something. The professor said, to the best of his knowledge, he doesn't think anybody in Nigeria has the equipment he said he has used. So so you don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation. Over packaging, don't go there, but package yourself. It's very much allowed. So yeah, it is one thing to just state the things you've done or you did in your teaching assistantship, but I usually say, I have a mantra whenever I'm writing SOP or I am writing my CV, and the mantra is show, don't tell. When you tell, it is boring. When you show, it is nuts. When you tell, it sounds generic because it's going to match what a lot of people have written. But when you show, it becomes something like unique to you. So what I meant by that as well, well, you will understand as we go on the slide as well. So then you also want to talk about your academic honors as well. Now, okay, let's quickly dabble into some of the practical thing, and I'm going to extracting some things that I've been saying theoretically since. So now we have a research experience of one person who attended Harvard Medical School. So please please pay attention here, and if you want to jot, you can jot. Well, anyway, the video is being recorded, so you have access to it later on. So, introducing this is the section of research school. Then you have subsections. If you have multiple experience, so you have a single section for the research experience. So if you have multiple experience, so you are going to have a subsection. So you can see this person, it has two subsections, one in Harvard Medical School and the other in Nanyang Technological University. So just as I've said earlier, he made mention of where he got the research experience from, which is Harvard Medical School, and then where's the location? Boston in Massachusetts. What was his role? A graduate researcher. What was the time from 2015? And he is still there. Now, then the next thing is now to explain the things you did or you have done while or you are currently doing while you were a graduate researcher in that in Harvard Medical School. So you can see the person said, okay, I designed and executed novel biochemical blah 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 blah, developed blah 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 blah, developed blah 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 blah, whatever, performed statistical analysis, collaborated with blah blah blah. Now, what I said something earlier, which I'm going to bring forward now, is that your choice of words and choice of language. So it is common for that I've seen a lot in CV that people kind of like use personal statements, like I engaged in, I did, I I led a team of. No. So when you are writing a CV, it is highly, highly recommended to start with an action verb. To start with an action verb. So this is an action verb design. So this is what action verb does to you and to your CV. It kind of like oozes some level of confidence that it oozes some level of confidence. I can understand when you are using a personal pronouns in your CV because you want to sound as if you are you have ownership of something, but no, when you use an action verb, it even increases that level of ownership that Oh, it's kind of increases, shows some level of confidence and increases your ownership of what you've done. You can see designed and executed. It's kind of like an exacting statement. And this is something you want to use much more in your CV. So use action verbs. That it is highly, highly recommended to use action verb. So a designed and executed novel. You see this word novel, no, this word novel biochemical experiment. It is not just a statement that being made to what's it called, to occupy a space. It shows that while even you are gaining experience, you are doing something remarkable. Like, yes, that is what that statement is telling to the reviewer. Like, you are doing some that's some this word, executed novel biochemical experiment, is going to catch the eye of the reviewing committee. Oh, this thing sounds interesting, because that's what graduate school is all about. You are coming here to do something new, something unique, not you just regurgitating what has been done or published in yesteryear's publications and what have you. So this first statement, and you can see that this person did not put this as the last statement or the third or the fourth statement. He put it as the first statement, because that is what you want to do. You want to hook their attention. If I am reading, maybe, okay, let's say for example, he puts this collaborated with postdocs, blah blah, as the first statement, and I read it, collaborated with postdocs. Trust me, he's not the only person who has applied for the same position that has also written in their CV that they collaborated with postdoc or collaborated with whatever other people they've done work with. He's not the only person. Okay, let's say this came second. He said perform statistical analysis on data set using data. Trust me, he's not the only one who knows how to use Excel. Even all of you that you are listening to me at the moment, you all know how to use Excel and GraphPad Prism. A lot of people know how to use GraphPad Prism, right? Isn't it? So if I read this as my second or first thing, when I open his CV or his experience section, I, I am just seeing the same thing I have seen from previous applicants, and it is not going to even it is not so it won't even attract my attention. So if I read the third one, and it is that I've seen in other people's CV, I will start losing my interest in that candidate. But look at this. It started with he said design and executed novel biochemical experiment. The chance of having another candidate do this is very, very rare. Not every candidate uh, would have done what exactly this guy did here. Design and executed novel biochemical experiment to test epigenetic inheritance of silent chromatin in body yeast. Even if somebody else have done something novel, it's probably not going to be on, in this epigenetic and inheritance of silent chromatin in body yeast. It's probably be something else. So this first line is what set this candidate unique, apart from every other candidate. You can see the rest of the bullet points are something generic that you can always find in other candidates. But this first one, the chances of you seeing this first bullet point in any other candidate CV is very, very rare. And that is what they are saying when they tell you to be unique when you write. This same thing goes for your because I heard what the speaker said about the SOP earlier. The same thing goes for your SOP as well. So don't sound generic. Highlight and push those things that you think is unique to you. Push them forward before, even if you want to talk about other things as well. So and then so this person you can, okay. Then if you look at the second part, research associates, so the same style, manage and negotiated ordering for lab consumables, blah 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 blah. So if you look at this experience here, yeah, if okay, there's okay, yeah. So this one is like saying some giving a different information, and you can see initiated, design, and executed. So again, he's describing some of the things he has done. And one thing I would want you to pay attention to, I want to call your attention to here, is that even though this person did not say those things, but a lot, even myself in the past, I have done so before I understood that no, this thing is wrong, it shouldn't be done. So, instead of you just describing roles, because this is what many of us usually do, we describe role instead of telling or saying what exactly we did. So you would see, characterization, extraction and characterization of compound, molecular docking and dynamics of inhibitors downloaded from PDB, blah blah blah, what have you. These things are just, you're just describing, like, these things are just generic, and you just describing, you know, you're just describing roles. Okay, maybe you were like, you used so equipment, you manage the lab. You're just describing roles. These do not really have a weight on your application, but show, like, explain those things that you did in particular and that yielded result. Even if it is negative result is still result. So don't be taken aback that, okay, maybe you didn't have good result or whatever. Negative result is still result. So that's one. So I think I have something from my own personal CV. Okay, yeah, yeah. So okay, yeah. So I took this excerpt from my personal CV. If but I'm going to inform you ahead, because if I'm going to, like, what's it called? If I'm going to, like, release the link to this slide, I'm probably gonna remove things that are personal to me, because I really don't like my personal thing out in the public like that. So, but for the sake of this conversation and for those that are here, so yeah, we have this. So you see, this is part of my research experience section, and just like the previous one I showed you, I this is the first subsection. I have the name of the research institute, the location, my role, which is the graduate research student, and the timeline. So from February 2023 to July 2023. Then I only have one bullet point here, because I see no need for me, because I have the single bullet point is, I believe it's more weighty than me describing other roles, and maybe, okay, I use this machine, I use that machine. Everybody else used the machine. I did extraction, everybody else did extraction. Since we are applying for the same role, whatever I did. But this single bullet point, I am 100% sure that nobody else would have done it, because this is unique to me. And you see, so I use, as I said earlier, use action verb, developed a new method to access, like, anhydrous peroxide via alkylation of acyclic peroxycarbonium ions. This created, and so after telling, like, what I did, I didn't just stop there. And this is something you need to understand and have at the back of your mind whenever you're writing your CV. You have to qualify, or should I say quantify as well, whenever you write about whatever, anything you did. So when I say quantify, like, show, like, tell the result, show that, okay, yeah, this thing produced results. So, and that was what I did here. I said this created a new pathway to synthesize novel derivatives of pharmaceutical intermediates with peroxide moiety as their pharmacophore, such as artemisinin. So I've done two things here: that I told them that I did something new, and aside from me doing something new, I achieved a result from that. So, which is the second statement here. So, yes, if I want to add 2 to 3 much more bullet points, I can, but I just felt they are not really needed. This single one is okay for me for this particular project that I did. Then the second experience I had, which is the second subsection. So the same syntax, the same style, the name of the institute, the location, my role, and this. So the same thing. I started with the basic thing, no, not basic thing rather, like it's the unique thing rather, that I did, that, okay, yeah, even if you're going to review thousands of CV, the chances of meeting that same thing is probably maybe you will see, maybe you probably see it in one or two other candidates as well. It's not like something generic. Like I said, formulated and synthesized lipid nanoparticles for the encapsulation of dextran fluorescent. So if I had stopped here, formulated and synthesized lipid nanoparticles here, it is an experience, right? Yes, but a lot of people have also formulated and synthesized lipid nanoparticles. So I have to, like, be explicit about what I did in particular. So, and I went up and said, characterized and monitored the drug, whatever. So this one is definitely generic. So this one is definitely generic compared to this first statement. So design a research proposal for the microneedle, blah, 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 blah. So this one is not as generic as this one as well. So if I'm to re-review this CV, I would have put this one at the second bullet point and this one as the third bullet point. So okay, so yeah, and so that's just like a typical. And okay, I think I have another interesting one. I have the last one here. So here, it's in a different institute, the same syntax, blah blah blah. You can see again the first bullet point: designed an experimental procedure and novel solving system for blah blah blah, whatever. And so the unique thing here, because all of these things I've written here sound generic until this last statement. Isolated characterized activity of natural products from and what have you. So okay. Oh no. So I think I reviewed this one. This is supposed to be like maybe the old. So because there was a statement I added here, so that's kind of like personalized it to just me, and that's it. So this is how you craft, you design, and you write your experimental experimental experience. Yes, your research experience. So for whatever you are writing. Then, okay, so this is a typical example of how the publication path should look like. So it's just like exactly like how we do the referencing. Just put and bold your own name. So bold your own name from the name of the authors, so that they won't start looking for your name from amongst the thousands of text you have there. So, and if you are when you are infusing your publications, then you don't need to put all the publications because some of us, maybe some of you have probably like published like 10 publications, 15 publications, even 20 publications. No, you don't have to go and put 20 publications in there. You are applying for grad school, right? Good. Out of all those publications, how many of the 20 or 10 is directly related to or related to the program you're applying for? Are they two? Just put two. Are they three? Just put three. You understand now? So just put you don't have to put like everything. Publications that are not really, and if everything, like all the publications you have, they are all related to the program you're applying for. Select maybe four, your best four. Yes, just select your best four and put it there. So if they want to see, so one thing that people usually do again is that they will just like put an hyperlink under the text link in the brackets by this publication there, so that if you want to see more publication, they will just click on it and just go there and like look for at your publication the more. So that's as regard the publication aspect. Then awards and scholarship. So basically, I've said this earlier. So when you put the award and scholarship thing, so always make sure like you put the dates. You put the dates there. Sorry, excuse me. So you always put the dates as well. And again, just majorly, you don't have to like put this much of information. Sure, you understand? Because I think when I was applying, I have to like cut down some of the things I have in here. I only like just leave the the important what's it called? Yeah, I just like put some the cool ones that I feel are cool to me are the things I just did. So yeah, that part as well, because it speaks a lot for you that you are able to attract opportunity, you are able to attract grants. Because one thing in grad school is that okay, you need to probably, even if you are on TA, you probably, want to apply for funding. Maybe you want to take yourself out of TA or something. So you want to show that, okay, you are able to attract grants, even though things doesn't always go the way as you plan. And in the case of conferences, and maybe you attended conferences or seminars, and this was what I was saying earlier. So you don't just list the conferences you've attended. You attended, right? Cool, good. But what was your role? So you would see, I made mention of some of the conferences. I put the name, blah, blah, and in bracket, I put my role there: presenter, presenter, presenter. And the one where I wasn't the presenter, yeah, the host and the opening speaker and what have you. So that is what you are expected to do. This one, holds much more important than just putting the name of the conferences you attended without telling the role. So putting the role is very, very important. Now the teaching part. So I'm going to say some things here. So I've explained to you earlier the teaching section. So one thing you should observe is that you can see the style. Of the subsections are all like have been very much the same right from time. So you have where you did your teaching, whatever the location, and okay, maybe you're a teacher to a particular course, maybe CHM blah 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 teach instructor, history something something instructor, put it, and then you put the dates when you started and when you ended, or if you are still doing it, you just put present there. So now you just let them into like what you did, as a teacher, and what you achieved as the teacher. You understand? So if you look at this, okay, here I said prepare 32 post-high school students for Cambridge chemistry AS and A level international exam and recorded 98% as success rate, with the highest student scoring A star in chemistry. So a lot of things have been said in just this first bullet point only. I've told them that I am able to pass on knowledge. I've told them I'm able to pass on knowledge. That is one. Another information that I've told them from this first bullet point is that I am able to achieve good results, which is this 98% success rate. So this is more like an evidence of how good I am when I'm passing on knowledge to, the next person or teaching. So, which also shows that I am a good communicator, because it takes you to be a good communicator for your audience to understand what you are teaching them and to imbibe the knowledge what you are teaching them. So which is this last part. So it is more like the quantification of what I did, that, oh, I didn't just teach, I was able to teach and also achieved results with my teachings. So that is something you will really want to, highlight whenever you are writing. And it is not only limited to just your teaching, whatever. Even when you're talking about your volunteering experience, don't just list the roles you had. Oh, I was the president of something and something and something association. I was the secretary to blah 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 blah. No, don't just highlight those things. Tell us what you achieved as the president. If you established or you developed a project that helps the locals, maybe you as the CDS president of your CDS group in your NYSC, maybe you developed a program or a project that helps the locals in the village, in the rural areas to, to learn to read and write. Maybe that's the project you did, and you taught maybe 50 senior citizens in that rural area to be able to read and write in the basic, English comprehension, whatever, literacy terms and whatever. But that is something they want to see. They don't want to see that you are just the president. What did you achieve as the president? You are the secretary. What did you achieve as the secretary? Whatever position you've held, even if it is in school politics, whatever thing you've done, a lot of people have also held those positions. A lot of people are also coming as the president of one organization or the other. But what sets you apart is the thing you achieved while at that position. So place much more attention on what you achieved than what you were or the position you held. You understand? So that is much more important, because it shows that aside from academics, you have this thinking mentality and impacting mentality, and you are able to do things. You are able to manage projects. You are able to execute projects because your research is a project, and you are going to be you will be in a position of project manager for your research. So which you're going to plan that project research, you are going to develop it, and you are going to execute it. So these are the information you are passing across to them. When you say this was what you achieved during your time as this and that, blah blah blah, what have you. You understand? So that is very, very important whenever and you should extend this as well to maybe you are writing your SOP and what have you. So that's cool. And then you have okay, this other bullet point, and so that's it for the teaching stuff, whatever. Now to the skill part. Sorry, let me catch my breath, please. So to the skill part. Yeah, so here people can have subsections as well. And yeah, you might not maybe put in a subsection. You want to like just put everything together, but I would recommend that you have subsections if you have skill set that's kind of you know span through different domain. When I say domain, I'm not talking about maybe biology, chemistry, physics. So these days now, it is not uncommon for people to have programming skills and they have laboratory skills. Yes. So in this kind of case, you want to have subsection. Oh, programming skill, technical skill. Yeah. So yeah, you want to highlight this the laboratory or technical skills you have. You put them under your laboratory skill. Then maybe this you know how to use this you know how to code in this language, machine learning, blah, blah, blah. You put them on your programming skills and whatever. Yeah. So it is not uncommon for people to do this. And I think it's nice as well. So I think I have a typical example. Yeah. So this is an example of what I was talking about. I have your skills part. So in the case of mine, I just have like, instrumentation and technical. So then I put everything in, and I talked about my soft skill, okay, problem solving, analytical, research development skill, excellence, whatever. And so that's it. So yeah. I can tell you for a fact that well, when I made some of these skill sets here, because I think I said this earlier when I was like when we were talking like generally regarding the skill thing, so that if you know how to what's it called? If you know how to interpret the result of a particular equipment, yeah, that means you have the skill. You understand? So even if you get to the interview, maybe they call you for an interview and they made reference to is that, oh, you said you have so skill. Yes, say confidently. Yeah. You probably want to like make a distinction. Okay, yeah, even though you haven't used the equipment, but you know how to analyze the results. This is the way. This is blah, blah. Just walk them through and what have you. So and that's it. So one of the parts that's is also recommended to have in your CV is the leadership and the volunteer experiences. So I've said something uh I've said something earlier regarding this. So, you work with for your community side like your community development services you did in your NYC. You volunteered for NGOs, NPOs, or even you did a little bit of school politics in your department, SUG, faculty, politics, whatever. Yeah. So all of these things are welcome. Put it on there. And I've told you how it is expected for you to I've told you how you should put it. So you don't just state the rules. So focus more on what you achieved when you held those roles. Those are much more important than just saying I'm the president of so so so, I'm the governor of so so so. Even as as simple as being the class rep, it is a role. It is a role. So, you know, you designed maybe the class timetable, you ensured like, all these um lecture management that you probably did. You know what you did anyway, so things you achieved and whatever. So now all of these things we've been saying, especially the uh the teaching your extracurricular activities. You're not just putting it in your CV for putting sake. So you're not just putting it there in your CV for putting sake. You are putting it there because you want to strengthen your candidacy for the position you are applying for. So whatever you put in your extracurricular activities, make sure that you tie them down to how they are going to help you, or they are strengthening your application material for graduate school. So I'm just going to state one simple example. I'm going to state one simple. Let's say, okay, yeah, you were the president of a particular organization, or maybe president of your department or the SUG president. So you want to say maybe in one of your bullet points, and this can also go in your SOP if you'd ask me. So you want to say in your bullet point that, okay, yeah, I think it's even much more valuable in SOP than CV if you'd ask me. So you've highlighted the achievements that you've had. So you planned projects, you developed the project, and you executed the project, and also you achieved some result. So you can just like conclude by saying, oh, the experiences you've gained in planning development, and in executing this project will come in handy, will come in handy, or going to be pivotal or crucial, whichever adjective you want to use, in you going through graduate school, uh, in you handling research projects, executing research projects, and what have you, because that is the goal right from the onset, right? Everything you have done or everything you are narrating are meant to serve as a fuel and engine to your application to get into grad school. So that's the goal. So you always want to tie them back down to your graduate school application. So make sure that they see that you've acquired all of these experiences, all of these skills. And this is the way they have prepared you to go and smash the graduate school goals and whatever. I'm not saying you should use smash anyway, so I'm just like saying that. Okay, so this is a typical example of leadership, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, I wouldn't say it's a worthy example, but just for you to see, how it looks like, and if you want to craft your own. Again, you can see, so everything all through, it's the use of action verb: analyzed, performed, evaluated, identified. You can see. So and you can see that this person didn't just, as a fellow of early technological assessment, blah blah. As a fellow, he didn't just say he was a fellow like stating his role. He was like focused on the things he has done. He evaluated. That is something he has done. He performed. These are the things that are peculiar to him. Something he has achieved while he was the fellow of early technological assessment. So these are tantamount to what I said earlier. So please take note of that. So yeah, we are going to the end of the talk. So there's just a simple and small errors that people usually make in CV. So when you write your CV, please avoid typographical errors and inconsistencies in your formatting. Like I've said earlier, your formatting style, your formatting fonts, your spacing, be consistent. Because if for example, let's say they're just reading your CV and they are seeing typographical error, you're misspelling, this doesn't speak well of you. Yes, does not speak well of you. Just imagine, just like I heard what the previous speaker said earlier, you and a group, maybe another candidate, you tied for a position. So, and even though you have a good and remarkable background, just imagine they disqualify you because you had typographical errors in your application material. So please and please always check again, so second thing is the irrelevant information. I've said this earlier. So avoid having irrelevant information in your CV. You maybe for a typical example is the case I said earlier about those who usually put their secondary school and primary school background in the CV. No, 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 no. Nobody wants to see that. This is very, very irrelevant for your grad school application. So avoid it. Avoid exaggeration. I said it earlier as well. So package yourself good, nice, but don't overpackage. Don't overpackage. So because when you overpackage yourself, you project yourself as something you are not. That is a breach of honesty. You are being dishonest. And one thing you don't want them to ascribe to you is not being honest. So package yourself, but do that in moderacy. So, and finally, ensure vigilance. So you've written your CV, send it to your friends, send it to your mentors to proofread for you. Let them review. So sometimes you make mistakes from maybe it could even be typographical error. You cannot see it, they will see it. So always make sure you proofread before you, put in for that application. So yeah, again, proofreading is very good, is very important. I heard the
Mo mọ
speaker.
nǹkan tó máa máa rò. Ṣé mo pa
I
sọ
heard
wípé a máa máa
Brack.
lówó yẹn tó sọ pé òun ò ní problem pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Òun náà mò ń sọ fún ẹ pé àwọn nǹkan tó
Mr.
ń
Miriam,
fún wa
please help us
is
mute this
possible.
person. So, proofreading is very important. The previous speaker also emphasized on it. There's no how whatever you write will always be good to you. Yes, whatever you write will always look beautiful to you. So you have a second opinion, have a second eye, have a third eye to look at it for you. Seek their their inputs so that you can have an effective CV. So in conclusion, your CV should be clearly presented, you know, confidently showcase your scholarly qualification and gratification, for your intended graduate school, and make your thoughts, your experiences, make sure they are aligned to what you are applying for. Make sure they are applying to what I've cited an example of this earlier. You have multiple experiences and you're applying for something, tailor your experiences down to those ones. And yeah, so it's very, 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 very important. Very, very important. I know one question one person is dying to ask me, which I'm going to answer it right now, is that I this is what I did in my undergraduate, the research project I did in my undergraduate school is totally different from what I'm applying for. Does that mean I don't stand a chance? No, you definitely stand a chance. So in that case, where you don't have the exact experience, let's say for example, somebody who did, let's say their undergraduate experience was in wastewater management. Let's say their undergraduate research experience was in wastewater management. Now they want to apply for grad school, they are applying for drug development. These are two different, even though they are both in chemical sciences, whatever, but still the experiences is not styling. So in this case, yes, you can still go ahead and apply. The experience you had in your wastewater, blah, 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 put it in there. Put it in your SOP, put it in your CV. So in your own case, so it will be a case of, if this person can perform, can do research, in this domain, he or she achieve result, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. The person should be able to, it shows that this person can conduct research and yeah. So this person should be able to conduct research in drug development as well. Even though, those that have matching experiences will have higher hand than you, but still it doesn't diminish your chances of getting in as well. Sure, you understand? So, but once you put into consideration all of the things that has been said earlier today, during the SOP thing and whatever, you crafted your thing very well. Because even the graduate school committee themselves, they understand that you might be coming from, a research experience that doesn't probably is not really matching. Do you understand? So they want to assess that, can you conduct research? Can you conduct research? Do you know what research entails? Yes. So they want to look that, even though somebody who has a matching experience, make it easier for them. And those kind of person will have a brand. So, and to be sincere, I'm a typical example because my undergraduate research experience was in organic geochemistry, which is more like geosciences. So, and I got myself into a drug development program. So it's all depends on how you craft your essays, your CV, and what have you. So, finally, this is what I think. This is according to me. This is not a this is not the templates, and it is not the general rule, but this is what I think that when you list the arrangement of your sections, you have your education comes first, followed by your research experience, followed by your skills, followed by your work experience, followed by your publication, your awards, volunteer leadership experience, and finally the conference, whatever you've attended. So this is what I think, because my own preference of order of importance. So yeah, and that brings to the end of the talk. Thank you for your attention. I don't know if anybody has any question. Yeah, Shoaib Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Thank
salam.
you very for the opportunity and for the insightful webinar. I have quite a lot of questions, but I'll try and make it short. The first question is there is usually these things that we usually see with samples of CV that we see online. For example, CV of Dr. Muyiwa Igbalajovi, where he often starts his CV with research interest, and I've quite seen that with some other CV of some scholars too that are available as sample. So I don't know what you can say about that. Another thing is adding links, maybe an hyperlink to a CV, not really DOI in case of research publication. Adding links probably to showcase an impact factor that you've done in a particular section where you've highlighted. Another question that I would like to ask is about the I don't know, there is a true aspect that I often see in people's CV. I have quite a number of it, but I don't see you mentioning it, so I don't know if they are not really relevant. That is the aspect of certifications and further trainings, probably an online MOOC course that somebody have taken. So I don't know if we can add that one. Lastly, the aspects of professional membership and affiliation. So I don't see that mentioned too. I don't know if you can clear about it, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. So let me start with the first one. So, yeah, as you know, when I started this talk, I said there's no one size fits all. Whether you are writing your CV, you're writing SOP, there's no one single approach. There are different approaches which works well. Whoever is pitching something to you will definitely be pitching to you from their own perspective, from what they understand. She understand. Now, to now answer the question, yes, I've also seen it a lot that when people write their personal summary or research interest, blah, 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 whatever you. If you will ask me, if I'm going to answer that question, I would say it's not really needed because I see it as a form of repetition. That information is embedded and well detailed in your SOP, isn't it? Or your personal statement or your motivational letter. It is well detailed in there. So why do I need to put it in my CV again? They are going to read my SOP. So, and don't forget, well, one of the things, one of my own, my own, perspective is that if they are reading my SOP and they are coming to my CV, I don't want them to see exactly the same thing. Like I want to give them a fresh perspective of me in my CV compared to what they have seen in the SOP. So me writing the research summary or research interest or personal summary, I just think it is already in the SOP. So why should I put it in my CV anymore? The reason I didn't, I do not buy that idea. So yes, definitely. For him or some other people to have like put it in their CV, it's probably definitely working for them. And if it is, yeah, why not? If it is working for them, yeah, good for them. But and and well, this is a testament to what I was saying earlier that there's no one size fits all. I've never used the personal summary or research interest, blah, 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 because of my own thought of it is in my SOP, so I don't need to put it. And obviously, there are a lot of people who also that I also worked for and whatever. So that is just my own, perspective about that one. So if it is in SOP, I don't need to bother putting it in my CV. So that's for the first question. So the second question, when you made mention about um the section putting hyperlink or whatever. Yeah, I made mention of it here. You can put hyperlink in your thing, definitely. Yes. So for example, maybe the engineering guys that usually have GitHub GitHub accounts where they have their repository and whatever you. So there's no way you can put all your repository in your CV. So put the have an hyperlink, maybe name GitHub, let it be on CV, maybe at the heading section. Do you understand? So hyperlink I think is very, very welcome. Very well. Even people usually have, hyperlink to their LinkedIn profile. So that they put in their CV. People do that. Even I do it as well. So yeah, I think that's good if you have something remarkable that you think they should be aware of and they can't fit in your SOP or your CV. Yeah, have an hyperlink to it to go there for them to like look at it. So even people have hyperlink to their YouTube pages when they're applying for grad school. They have a hyperlink for YouTube pages that they have, maybe where they teach stuff and what have you. They put it on hyperlink, they put it on their CV as well. So all of these things count. Yes. Another question you asked me earlier was the section for MOC, MOC, what have you. So, yes, it depends on how and what your profile looks like. Let's say, for example, you, okay, I think the first thing that usually brings about MOC or whatever is if a candidate thinks they do not have enough experience. Just for example, like what I said earlier regarding you have your undergraduate research experience is not the same as or doesn't match what you are applying for, even though it is in the same field. So in this case, and I did that when I wanted to move into drug development from geochemistry. I did some MOCs from MIT OpenCoursewares, EDX, and what have you. And I have a section for it in my CV that I use there. So yes, because you can have it. I think it's also a plus for you as well. So you can have it. Uh, in that case, but for somebody who has enough research experience for what they're applying for, what is the need for them to do MOC? And then, so I guess that's the reason you didn't see it in me mentioning it because, okay, when I was applying for my PhD, I didn't need the MOC anymore. I already had enough experience that I can count on to apply. So in your case, if you have MOC and you think it's going to bolster your, your application, yes, create a section for it and put it in there. Yes, it's not a bad thing. And what's it called? Professional bodies that you are affiliated to. Yes, that's also a good idea. That is also found. Well, I think that's probably like escaped my mind. So having a professional bodies you are affiliated to is a good one that you can also put in your CV. I have it in my originals, real original CV actually. So pardon me, it escaped my mind to add it to the talk itself. So I'm not, I think, is that all your question? I don't I think I have answered the question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you
Okay.
so much, and Jazakallah khair.
Yeah,
I think you
so
asked about certification too.
okay.
Yes, I had
Yes.
certifications and MOOC together,
For the certification,
like
well, me,
further training. Sorry.
yeah, certification training. So in with the way I usually handle that is whenever you're applying for grad school, they always have this option of where you upload other files. You upload other files. Remember, your CV should not be more than 3 pages for a normal CV. You don't want to give them 10-page CV. So in order to maintain that page or that pages, all my certificate that I had, I match them into a single PDF file. So whenever I get to the point where upload other files during a graduate school application, I usually upload that one there. So that's how I usually manage it. So if you have 10, 20, 10, 15 certifications, putting that in your CV is going to definitely elongate your CV. So that's that. Let's see. Logitech.
Yeah,
Logitech.
please, can you hear me? Please?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, Jazakumullah khairan for a very insightful lecture. So, my question is about the uh how should I say it? Participation in, let's say, webinars or some other programs outside. When you made mention of mentioning your role in the participation, what kind of role did you take? Maybe you are a speaker or you're a presenter or something like that. So is
Yeah.
it also acceptable to use a role like audience? So if you are just an ordinary audience or part of the audience, is
Okay.
that also acceptable? Thank you,
So
sir.
if you attended a conference, in itself, it is not bad. Even if it not part, even if you didn't participate, yeah, in itself it is not a bad one. It's good. But what I said was that it is much more worthy of mentioning when you had a participation. Sure, you understand that? So if you didn't participate, you don't have to nail yourself to the cross. Just put it there, okay, yeah, we attended this conference and that's it. You don't need to put audience or something. But if you participated, made it known. Let it be known that you participated.
Yeah,
Okay.
understood. Jazakumullah khairan.
Yeah, right. If MC was Abiodun.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. I want to ask a question about CV.
Yeah.
You are saying something about it's not necessary for a CV to start with education first before work experience. Because I
Yeah.
saw from place that it's necessary, or is it determined from the, like maybe it's from the country aspect that will know if the CV will start from education or work experience first?
No. So what I said was that yeah, it is not a compulsory thing. So it is just based on you. So let me just repeat what I said, that there some people feel that education should is not necessarily should come first. And the rationale behind that is because they believe while you are applying, they already requested for your educational background. You've already input the school you attended, your CGPA, whatever. You already input it in your application portal. So
Yeah.
that was their argument, that just go straight to research experience. Now that is what the graduate school is interested in. That is the only thing you don't have in the application portal.
Okay.
So that was the argument. And to look at it logically, the argument is valid. But again,
Yes.
if you want to start with education first, as the norms that has been for right from time, still all well and good. I start with education. So I only said that just for you to be aware that in case you see a CV that isn't starting with education, that you shouldn't think it is wrong or something. So the reason why they said you might not start with education is what I said earlier. So that's just it.
Yeah. I have another question also.
Okay.
Yeah, I study statistics and
Okay.
I want to apply for a PhD course in mathematics. And my research interest is not linking to any of the research interests in
Mhm.
the in the department. How will I be able to do that?
So just like the question the previous brother asked, talked about, yeah. So you want to do MOC. There are a lot of ways to, because it is, I wouldn't say, because the competition right now is far more than what it used to be. So you don't just want to go and just relying on how you be crafting your SOP and your CV, to get yourself into grad school. So for every position, there are thousands of people who had experience for that thing. So you probably want to go back to drawing board, maybe you will want to maybe volunteer for what's it called, for someone or for a professor, for a lecturer, or whatever in that field, do some work for him to have experience or an insight into what is happening there. You want to do MOC to have an experience in what is happening there. And all of these things you can talk about them, in your CV and your SOP, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Can we get this slide?
Oh,
Please.
yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So Umar Adam. Umar, I guess he's not there. Rahimat. Okay, Umar is there. Okay, yeah. Walaikum salam tula. Walaikum salam tula.
Am I audible?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you very much for the effective presentation. My question is regarding some particular educational or academic background and discipline. Like for me, I studied medicine, and in our transcript, usually it's more of like departmental issues rather than the coursework. Like if it's for instance in community medicine, they will just write the course as community medicine. Meanwhile, the breakdown includes everything in community health,
Umar,
epidemiology.
I'm
Hello?
not sure. I can't hear you very well.
Hello?
Hello, Umar. I can't hear you very well. Can you? I don't know. I think maybe like
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible now?
Yeah, I think it's audible a little bit.
Okay. Sorry, it's my network and the place that I am.
No. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I said from our academic background, like me, I studied medicine, and what's happening, our transcript, they only write it based on the departmental summary. Like for the courses, they will just write community medicine. Meanwhile, the breakdown of the community medicine, it includes the epidemiology, biostatistics, demography, and a lot of things like that. So in my like educational summary, should I still just write it as per I studied medicine, or I can just write brief overview of the course, like the relevant coursework related to public health that I'm applying, or I still can leave it just like that clause.
Okay. Okay, I get your question now. Thank you for the question. So yes, yeah, I think you raised a valid point. Because not all transcripts school, yes, give the exact course, from the course code. Yeah, if your case is like that, then it might be logical that you 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 highlight the relevant courses that you did. Then if your case like that, I think it's relevant that you highlight those courses. Yes, I'll subscribe to that. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all.
All right, thank you. Rahimat.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam salam.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I have two questions. So the first question is, what if you submitted an abstract of your research to an organization and you have your poster on their website, but you couldn't physically go due to some reasons? Is this still worth putting on your CV? And the second question is, what if for a publication, you are currently working on the manuscript, like it is not even ready yet, you have not even submitted it. Can you put it on your CV as well? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, so for the first one, I tried explaining this earlier. So publication is not just limited to whether you published in a journal or not. Like your case, that's a publication on its own. That's a publication on its own. Whatever that has left your computer hard drive, that has left your lab, or whatever where you're conducting your research, and it is now in the public eye, it is referred to as publication. What type of publication it is, that is where we now start, segregating it. Oh, this is a conference publication, this is a journal publication, this is a blog publication, this is, whatever it is, magazine publication, newspaper publication. Once it is out there for the public eye to see, it is a publication. And as a matter of fact, you see, in the West, as a PhD student or a master's student, if you write your thesis and then you mistakenly, as the way people usually do, and put it on maybe LinkedIn or Facebook, or even if it's Instagram, that thesis has been published. No journal will accept it from you anymore if you want to publish it in probably any prestigious journal. The fact that it is found on Facebook or Instagram, no journal will accept that thesis from you anymore. Because they now regard to it as being published. So you have it, even though you couldn't be there. Yes, you have it on their website. It is a publication. Put it in your CV. You probably want to even just put a link to so that they can hyperlink, as we were saying earlier, for them to go and see it and what have you. Yeah. So it's about. And your second question, please, can you ask me again? I've forgotten.
Yes. The second question was your publication. You are still preparing the manuscript.
Okay, yeah. So if you are still preparing your manuscript, so one thing I know people usually do is that after they've written, like how we used to write the name of authors, types, blah blah, then they will put in brackets manuscript in progress. If they have submitted, they will put in brackets manuscript submitted or manuscript accepted. Do you understand? So
Yes,
so that's how people usually deal with that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. From the chart, what's the standard font size to use in crafting? Say it's ACV. I don't want you. Okay, let me quickly say this. I don't want to give you an exact font, because again, it depends on the type of font you're using, the font style. So I have used, for like the normal texts, I think I've used 11. Yes, I have used 11. For the matters, I've used 11. And for the subheadings, yeah, both the yeah, I think 11. I've used 11 and it came out very well. Yeah, 11, yes. So, but if you want to use 11, you probably don't want to use the likes of Arial or maybe Sun Sheriff or something, because those guys are smaller on their own. So using 11 makes it more tinier. So maybe you want to try to use maybe Times New Roman. I didn't use Times New Roman though. I used a font called Garamond because it looks bigger on its own. So 11 kind of makes it, somehow apt to the eye and very legible and readable. Yeah. So you can try 12, you can try 11 and see. So, but definitely using something more than 12 and something lower than 11 will be, will become awkward, I think. Any other question in this presentation? How do you properly frame your conference presentation in publication section? Or what's also your take on including research manuscript that's currently, yeah, I already talked about this one just now. So for if you not published it already, just put the status of the manuscript in bracket. If submitted, put submitted. Writing, put writing in progress, whatever. How do you prepare for your conference presentation, publication session? Yeah, I think I showed you an example of that one. Yeah, I showed us that one. Oh, I don't know if I can find it again. Yeah, this is it. Okay, there are some publications, there are some conference presentation that maybe you just write your name and whatever. So this one, okay, you have the title, then okay, I'm the presenter. But in the publication, then maybe just like, yeah, it's still gonna be written like exactly like this, but it will be better. Yes. So it's still going to be written exactly like this. If it's just a conference presentation or conference publication, it's still going to be written exactly like this. If you publish, let's say you publish this in Nature, in bracket, you probably have Nature there. Or if it is JAX, or if it is maybe Amgewan, so you probably have it, or maybe if it is Cell or Cell Biology, you have the name of the journal that is to be proclamated there. So, for example, this one, this is a typical example. One thing I can say from this person's CV is that this first one is not a journal publication. Maybe it's a conference publication. So look at this one here. Look at the second one. You can see after the whatever, it says Proceeding National Academy of Science. This is not even journal publication. This is a Proceedings of National Academy of Science. So, and definitely this one here is a journal publication. You can see it is written Biomacromolecules, Journal of Molecular Biology. Yeah. So, but this first one, you can see there's no named journal there. So, which means it's not a journal publication. It's definitely a conference medical conference publication. This one also is National Academy of Science. So that's how you do that. If it's not a journal publication, just let it be. You're not writing anything. Well, if it's a journal publication, you just have to put it exactly as it has been written here. It's a journal publication. Shuaib Muhammad.
Well, all right, sir. I want you to give us an insight. There are some scholarships, for example, like this Mastercard scholarships or emphasis on leadership and community services, especially when you have to apply to the organizations first before you apply to the school. So did you advise you go with the same formatting, or we can go with those their core interests, like those things that they have more interest on before we start highlighting research experience as secondary in that cases. And also in cases where we need to do our CV, for example, like Erasmus scholarship. I recently checked my Europass CV now, and I dictate that the usual formatting of Erasmus is usually start with something like personal profile. So can we just remove that and move to education straight as your advisor? Since they've stated the format, we should just go with the format. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's if you apply for Erasmus, I believe I'm going to leave that question for there's going to be an Erasmus session because I really don't know much about Erasmus. So it will be inadequate for me to be answering question on that. So I think the Erasmus session should come up tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, the Erasmus guys, they will definitely have a better answer than I will. Sure, you understand? Uh-huh. So that's on the Erasmus thing. So and again, the question you asked me earlier, like if you are applying for so the thing is, if you're applying, let's say the way it is obtainable in some of the scholarship you find in Europe, where they usually have their own criteria, how they want you to craft your thing. I think there's something similar if you're applying for something like Gates Cambridge scholarship. If you're applying to Cambridge University and you want to apply for Gates Cambridge, they have something like what you just explained just now. So the thing Cambridge wants to see in your CV is different from what Gates and Melinda Foundation Scholarship wants to see in your CV. So in that case, whatever thing you think you know, ditch everything. Go to their website, see what they want you to have in your CV and your SOP or personal statement. Follow strictly what they said. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yes, I'm getting you, sir.
So, because at least I have the experience of that Cambridge and Gates and Melinda Foundation, whatever. So, and because the way the Gates and Melinda wants me to structure my personal statement is not the same exactly as what Cambridge wanted me, even though I'm using the same application for the same thing. Do you understand? So the one thing that is good about them is that they've already highlighted how they want you to write it and what they want you to write. They've already highlighted it. So just follow their guidelines. You not following their guidelines is automatic disqualification for you, regardless of how good your CV is or your personal statement is, because it shows that you can't follow instructions. So in that case, if you find yourself applying for that kind of situation, whatever thing you know, drop it and follow their criteria. I know this school also has something like that, MIT. If you're applying to MIT, especially their chemistry departments, they have specific things they want you to put. And theirs is the case of you will write SOP for them and personal statement for them. In their SOP, they have things they want you to put in your SOP that they want to see in your SOP, and they have things they want you to see also in the personal statements. So in that case, all the things, the SOP you know how to write, you have to now bend to what they want. So that is that in that situation. So you will always have, because if you don't follow their own laid down guides, their principles, that's automatic denial. So I believe I answered your question.
Definitely, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I guess in the absence of no more question, that will be the end of my talk. So yeah, as I've said earlier, the link to these documents are going to be put on the YouTube under the YouTube video, so you can always get it. And please pardon me because I said earlier I was going to remove some of my personal thing that I really don't want to be outside. Yeah, I will leave some actually. So in case you see the slide and you don't find something there. So I've probably moved it because I don't want it to be on public eye. So yeah, I have it. So Sister Miriam, I guess I'm done here.
All right, thank you very much, Brahma. So, thanks everyone. So we'll share the slide for both sessions, the SOP and also the CV on the YouTube page. So, the next session is tomorrow, and that one is on cold emailing and Erasmus scholarship. So, all right, have a nice day, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.